The words hit like daggers as I cleared out my desk. You're throwing away everything we built for you, Lucia. This food truck fantasy will be your biggest failure yet. My brother Gregory's voice dripped with the same condescension he'd perfected since childhood. I'm Lucia, and at 28, I just quit my 6-figure tech job to start a Lebanese food truck. Crazy, right? That's what my family thinks anyway. Actually, Greg, I'm throwing away everything you wanted for me, I said, dropping my company laptop into its box with a satisfying thunk. There's a difference. He leaned against my now empty cubicle, arms crossed over his expensive suit. Mum's crying, you know. Dad can barely look at the family photos anymore. Drama queen much? I rolled my eyes, but my hands trembled as I packed away my last family photo, the one with Tita, my grandmother, teaching me how to roll grape leaves in her kitchen, the only one who'd understand what I'm doing now. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mom. Please reconsider. We didn't send you to Stanford for this. I switched it to silent as my friend Kendall appeared at my desk, grinning. Ready to ditch this corporate prison, boss? More than ready, I said, hoisting the box. The food truck's being delivered tomorrow. Gregory scoffed. A food truck, in Silicon Valley, where rent costs more than your yearly profit will ever be. Watch me, I said, turning to face him. One day, you'll be standing in line at Zesty Za'atar, waiting for my Za'atar Manakish like everyone else. Zesty what? He laughed. You can't even name a business properly. Kendall stepped between us. Come on, Lucia. Your new business partner is freezing out here. As we walked toward the elevator, Gregory called out, When this fails, and it will fail, don't come crying to us. Outside, the crisp January air hit my face. Kendall squeezed my shoulder. You okay? I should be terrified, I said, looking up at the gleaming tech campus I was leaving behind. But I'm not. I'm excited. Your grandmother would be proud, Kendall said, helping me load the box into her car. You think? I pulled out my phone, showing her the photo I'd saved as my wallpaper, Tita's handwritten recipe for shish tawuk. She always said our family lost its soul when we stopped cooking together. Speaking of cooking, Kendall said, we need to test that marinade recipe tonight. The health inspection's at 9 tomorrow. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my sister Layla. Are you really doing this? Greg says you've lost your mind. They'll see, I said, putting the phone away. They'll all see. We drove to my apartment, where the smell of garlic and herbs greeted us. I'd been testing recipes all week, much to my roommate's delight. The kitchen counter was covered with containers of spices Tita had left me, za'atar, sumac, baharat, each one a piece of the heritage my family seemed eager to forget. Taste this, I said, offering Kendall a spoonful of toom. Too much garlic? Perfect amount of garlic, she said, reaching for water. Your brother's an idiot if he thinks this won't sell. I stirred the marinade, remembering Teta's hands guiding mine, teaching me the exact moment to add each spice. You know what the worst part is? They act like I'm throwing away my education, like my business degree won't help me run this truck. Their loss, Kendall said, sampling the chicken. Holy shit, Lucia, this is incredible. My phone rang. Mom again. This time I answered. Lucia, Habibi, please, it's not too late to fix this. I know Richard in HR would take you back. Mom, stop. This isn't a mistake that needs fixing. This is my choice. But your future... My future is exactly what I'm building, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. Tita's recipes deserve better than being lost in some family cookbook nobody opens. Your grandmother didn't spend her life cooking so you could throw away. No, I cut her off. She spent her life cooking to keep our culture alive, to give us something to be proud of. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. After hanging up, I showed Kendall the business plan I'd spent months perfecting. Market analysis, cost projections, social media strategy, everything they thought I was too naive to consider. Tomorrow, I said, we prove them all wrong. Kendall raised her water glass. To Zesty Za'atar. To Tita, I added softly, touching my necklace, the last gift she gave me, a small gold pendant shaped like a cedar tree. In my mind, I could hear her voice. Habibi, our food tells our story. Never let anyone shame you for sharing it. Looking at the marinating chicken, the scattered spices, and my best friend's encouraging smile, I felt something settle in my chest. This wasn't just about proving my family wrong anymore. This was about proving myself right. Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough. Order up, 2 chicken shawarma wraps and a side of fattoush, I called out, wiping sweat from my forehead. 3 weeks in, and Zesty Zatar was starting to build a rhythm. Make that 3 shawarma wraps, Kendall shouted over the lunch rush noise. The tech bros are multiplying. The line stretched around the corner of the food truck lot, a mix of curious foodies and regular customers who'd found us through our Instagram page. The February sun beat down on the chrome exterior of our truck, making the small space feel like a sauna. Did you see the comments on our latest post? Kendall asked, expertly wrapping a shawarma. That video of you making manakish hit 10,000 views. Less social media, more garnishing, I laughed, but my heart swelled with pride. Each positive comment felt like a tiny victory against Gregory's predictions of failure. A familiar face appeared at the window. Marin, another food truck owner who'd become a fast friend. Girl, your line is longer than mine today. What's your secret? Generations of Lebanese grandmothers, I winked, handing her our specialty, za'atar manakish with extra olive oil, just how Teta made it. Speaking of family, Morin said between bites, your sister's been lurking on our Instagram. She's liked every post this week. My hands froze over the cutting board. Layla? Are you sure? Unless there's another Layla Lewis, 22, who looks exactly like your sister. Before I could process this, an elderly man approached the window. His eyes crinkled as he scanned our menu. Smells just like my mother's kitchen, he said, his accent thick with memories of home. Where was home? I asked, already reaching for the tome. Beirut, he smiled. Left in 75. Haven't had proper shawarma since. Then you're in luck, I said, preparing his order with extra care. This is my grandmother's recipe. She was from Beirut, too. When he took his first bite, his eyes welled up. Exactly like Mama's, he whispered. You've brought a piece of home to California, Habibti. The moment was interrupted by my phone buzzing. Mom, again. I let it go to voicemail. Your mother still not speaking to you? Kendall asked as we cleaned up during the afternoon lull. Oh, she's speaking, just not the words I want to hear. I played the latest voicemail on speaker. Lucia, your father's friend saw your food cart. Is this really how you want people to see our family? Like common street vendors? Kendall threw a piece of pita at my phone. Common street vendors who just made more in 3 weeks than their fancy son did in bonuses last quarter. She was right. Despite the startup costs, we were already turning a profit. Our social media following grew daily, and we'd been invited to cater several tech company lunches. Even the local food blog had featured us in their must-try food trucks list. Speaking of money, I said, pulling out my laptop. Check this out. I showed Kendall our books. If we keep this up, we can start looking at a second truck by summer. No way. She hugged me, nearly knocking over a container of tahini. We're actually doing it. The afternoon rush started picking up when I spotted a familiar face in line. My sister Layla, trying to look inconspicuous in large sunglasses. What should I get? She asked quietly when she reached the window, like she was afraid someone might recognize her. Depends, I said, keeping my voice neutral. Are you here to spy for Greg? Or did you actually want to try the food? She pulled off her sunglasses, looking guilty. Both? Greg's been insufferable since you left. Keeps saying you'll come crawling back any day now. And what do you think? She glanced at the line behind her, then at our pristine truck with its professional branding. I think it smells amazing in here, like Tita's kitchen during Eid. Something in my chest loosened slightly. Try the shawarma platter, I said. Extra toom, just how you liked it as a kid. When I handed her the food, she hesitated. Lou, I'm sorry about before. About not standing up for you when you quit. Prove it, I said. Tell Greg exactly how good this food is. She took a bite and closed her eyes. Oh my God, this is better than Teta's. Don't tell Mom I said that. After she left, Kendall nudged me. Think she'll really tell Greg? Doesn't matter, I said, watching my sister disappear into the crowd, already taking photos of her food. The line speaks for itself. By closing time, we'd served over 200 customers and received 3 catering inquiries. As we cleaned up, I touched Teta's cedar pendant and smiled. Common street vendor, huh? I muttered. Just wait, Mama, just wait. You're late, Mum said as I walked into their house for our monthly family dinner. The familiar smell of her cooking filled the air, but something was off. She'd made Italian, not Lebanese. Food truck ran long, I said, kissing her cheek. Big corporate catering order. At least you're making money as a street vendor, Gregory called from the living room, not bothering to look up from his phone. Though probably not enough for a decent watch. I checked my sauce-stained t-shirt and shrugged. Actually, we're doing great, but you'd know that if you followed our Instagram. We hit 20,000 followers yesterday. Instagram followers don't pay bills, Dad said, emerging from his study. Richard still asks about you, you know. Says your position is open. My position is running my own successful business, I said, following them to the dining room. But thanks for the concern. Layla was already seated, looking uncomfortable. Since her visit to the truck last week, she'd been texting me regularly, asking for recipes and business advice. Now, she wouldn't meet my eyes. So, Mom said, serving the pasta, Gregory has some exciting news. My brother straightened his tie, grinning. I've been promoted to senior financial analyst, the youngest in the firm's history. Mabrook, Dad beamed, this calls for champagne. As he went to fetch the bottle, Gregory smirked at me. Some of us are still climbing the corporate ladder instead of climbing into food trucks. Funny, I said, twirling pasta on my fork. I catered lunch for your firm last week. Your colleague Marcus loved our food so much, he booked us for his wedding. You're catering weddings now? Layla perked up. Don't encourage her, Mom snapped. It's bad enough she's throwing away her education. Now she wants to be a wedding caterer too. What's wrong with catering weddings? I put down my fork. Tita catered weddings. Or did you forget that's how she put you through college? The table fell silent. Mum's face tightened. That was different. We had no choice back then. No, you're right. I had a choice. And I chose to honor her legacy instead of being ashamed of it. We're not ashamed, Dad said, returning with the champagne. We're concerned. This experiment of yours. Experiment, I laughed. We're making 5 figures a month. How's that for an experiment? Gregory choked on his wine. You're lying. I pulled out my phone, showing him our books. Check the numbers yourself, Mr. Senior Financial Analyst. Or better yet, ask your colleague Marcus why he chose us over that fancy catering company you recommended. That's actually impressive, Layla said quietly. Layla, Mom warned. No, Mom, it is impressive. Have you even tried her food? It's better than... Than what? I challenged. Better than Tita's. Better than the food you pretend doesn't exist when your country club friends come over. That's enough. Dad slammed his hand on the table. We're here to celebrate Gregory's success, not your street food venture. Just then, my phone buzzed. An email from the Bay Area Food Festival. I opened it, my hands shaking. Oh my God, I whispered. What now? Gregory rolled his eyes. Health department finally shut you down. No, I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I just got invited to be a featured vendor at the Bay Area Food Festival. The waiting list is usually 3 years long. The one they do at the waterfront. Layla's eyes widened. Lou, that's huge. Mom snatched my phone, reading the email. Her face paled. This is a mistake. They must not know. Know what, Mom? That I'm not some fancy restaurant, that I'm just a street vendor, or that I'm your daughter, embarrassing you by cooking the food you grew up eating. Lucia, Dad started. No, I want to know. What exactly are you ashamed of? The fact that I'm successful, or the fact that I'm successful doing something you look down on? Gregory scoffed. Success is relative. One good month doesn't... 6 good months, I corrected him. 6 months of proving you all wrong. 6 months of watching people line up for hours to taste the food you think is beneath you. 6 months of carrying on Teta's legacy while you all try to forget it. I grabbed my bag and headed for the door. Layla called after me. Lou, wait. You know where to find me, I said over my shoulder. Just look for the line of people who aren't ashamed to eat our food. As I reached my car, another email came through. This one from a local news station, wanting to feature zesty za'atar in their Hidden Gems segment. I touched Tita's pendant and smiled through my tears. Watch me now, I whispered, starting the engine. Just watch me now. Behind me, through the dining room window, I could see my family still seated at the table, their celebratory dinner forgotten. Layla was standing, gesturing at something on her phone, probably our Instagram page. For the first time since I'd started this journey, their opinions didn't matter. I had a food festival to prepare for. A charity event. Kendall raised her eyebrows as we prepped for the morning rush. On top of the food festival prep, hear me out, I said, chopping parsley for tabbouleh. Remember Maria, the single mom who comes by every Tuesday? She gave me this idea. Marin, perched on our prep counter, nodded enthusiastically. The one with the twins, she's always sharing our posts in her single mom support group. Exactly. These women are working multiple jobs, raising kids alone, and still trying to put healthy food on the table. I wiped my hands on my apron. We could do a special event. All proceeds go to their support network. Plus, Kendall grinned, it'll drive Gregory absolutely insane to see you succeeding and being charitable while he's just succeeding. This isn't about Gregory, I protested, but couldn't hide my smile. Okay, maybe it's a little about Gregory. My phone buzzed. A text from Layla. Need to talk. Coming by the truck today. Don't tell Mom. Speaking of family drama, I showed them the message. Your sister's been commenting on every post lately, Marin observed. Even defended us against some troll last week. Before I could respond, a familiar voice called through the service window. Is this a private meeting or can anyone join? I spun around to find Amanda, my former colleague from the tech company, grinning at me. Amanda, what are you doing here? Besides craving your shawarma, I'm here about the food festival. She pulled out a business card. I'm on the organizing committee this year. My heart skipped. You're the one who recommended us? After tasting your food at Marcus's wedding, how could I not? She leaned in. But that's not all. We want to feature you in the festival's promotional campaign. Your story's exactly what we're looking for. Corporate dropout turned successful entrepreneur, preserving cultural heritage through food. And pissing off her family in the process, Kendall added helpfully. Amanda laughed. That too. The whole proving them wrong angle. People eat that up. No pun intended. Just then, Layla appeared behind Amanda, looking nervous in her designer suit. Lou, can we talk? Perfect timing, I said. We're planning a charity event. Want to help? Layla glanced around uncertainly, then straightened her shoulders. Actually, yes, and I might have an idea. We gathered around our tiny prep table as Layla pulled out her tablet. So, I may have mentioned your success to some people at work. Our marketing team is looking for local businesses to partner with for community outreach. Hold up, I interrupted. You want your fancy marketing firm to partner with your embarrassing food truck sister? Stop it, she said firmly. I was wrong, okay? We were all wrong. And I want to help make it right. Amanda clapped her hands. This is perfect. A corporate-sponsored charity event right before the food festival. The press will love it. My head spun. Press? Trust me, Amanda winked. I know some people at the local stations. Between this and the festival feature, you'll be the talk of the Bay Area food scene. Marin squeezed my arm. Think about it, Lou. This could help so many people. I looked at Layla, really looked at her. Gone was the condescending sister who'd sided with Gregory. In her place was someone who seemed genuinely excited about my success. Okay, I said, but we do this my way. No corporate sanitizing. This is about real food and real people. Agreed, Layla nodded. And I want to help cook, like we used to with Tita. The prep table went quiet. Kendall dropped a spoon. You want to cook? I asked carefully. You haven't cooked since Teta died, I know. Layla's voice softened. Maybe it's time to change that. Amanda cleared her throat. Well, this just got even better. Sister reunited with sister through family recipes. The media will... No, I cut her off. This part stays private. Some things aren't for publicity. Layla's eyes welled up. Thank you. We spent the next hour planning. The event would feature traditional Lebanese dishes, each with a story connecting it to the community we were helping. Layla's firm would handle promotion and matching donations. Maren offered her truck as additional kitchen space. One more thing, Layla said as she was leaving. Greg knows I'm here. He might tell Mom and Dad. Let him, I said, touching Tita's pendant. They can't stop this anymore. After everyone left, Kendall bumped my shoulder. You okay? Better than okay, I smiled, pulling out Teta's recipe book. We're going to need more za'atar. My phone buzzed again. Gregory this time. What did you say to Layla? She's lost her mind. I typed back, actually, big brother, I think she just found it. See you at the event. Turning back to the prep table, I felt lighter than I had in months. The charity event, the food festival, Layla's support, everything was falling into place. And somewhere, I knew Tita was watching, probably laughing at how her recipes were still bringing the family together, whether they liked it or not. You're doing it wrong, I said, watching Layla struggle with the grape leaves. Tita would be rolling in her grave seeing you roll these like burritos. Well, I'm sorry my grape leaf rolling skills got rusty during my years of corporate slavery, she laughed, trying again. We were in my apartment's kitchen, practicing for the charity event. Here, I demonstrated the technique. Tighter at the start, then gentle as you roll, like swaddling a baby. You sound just like her, Layla said softly. Remember how she'd smack our hands when we tried to sneak the finished ones? Only because you kept eating all the vegetarian ones before the meat ones were done. The doorbell rang, Maren arriving with more supplies. Ladies, the local news crew confirmed for next week. They want to film the prep and interview some of the single mums we're helping. Perfect, I said, checking my phone. Maria's bringing 5 other mums to help prep. They're all excited to learn the recipes. Speaking of excitement, Layla cleared her throat. Mum called me this morning. My hands froze mid-roll. And? She saw the event posting online. Dad too. They're coming. The grape leaf in my hand tore. What? They want to see what all the fuss is about. Greg's coming too. Maren whistled low. Full family reunion, huh? Should I bring popcorn? It's fine, I said, though my voice shook. They can come. They can see exactly what their street vendor daughter has built. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Your father and I will attend your event. Please dress appropriately. Dress appropriately, I read aloud. What does she think I'm going to wear? A garbage bag? Actually, Layla pulled out her phone, showing me a website. I might have an idea about that. The page showed modern, professional chefs' coats with Middle Eastern designs. They're hand-embroidered by immigrant women in Oakland, she explained. Part of that community outreach program I mentioned. Layla. I touched the screen, tracing the delicate patterns. These are beautiful. Already ordered one, with Teta's name embroidered in Arabic above the heart. I hugged her, getting flour all over her expensive blouse. When did you become so thoughtful? Probably around the time I realized my little food truck sister was braver than all of us combined. Maren cleared her throat. Hate to break up the sister moment, but we've got 50 pounds of potatoes to peel for the batata hara. We spent the next few hours prepping, testing recipes, and finalizing the event layout. Layla's grape leaves gradually improved, though she still couldn't match Teta's perfect rolls. The news crew wants to know our angle, Maren said, reading an email. They're thinking, corporate sister versus food truck sister, a story of redemption. No way, Layla and I said simultaneously. This isn't about family drama, I added. It's about community, about feeding people who need it, about— I touched my pendant, about legacy. Speaking of legacy, Layla pulled out an old photo from her purse. Found this in Mum's albums. The photo showed Tita at a community dinner, surrounded by women learning to cook. Her smile was radiant as she demonstrated how to shape man-oosh. Look at the date, Layla pointed. 1982, I read. Wait, isn't that when Mum was in college? Yeah, Tita was teaching cooking classes to new immigrants, helping them feel at home. The money helped pay Mum's tuition. My eyes stung. She never told us. Maybe she was trying to forget, Layla said. But I think that's why this bothers her so much. You're doing exactly what Teta did, and it reminds her of where she came from. Where we all came from, I corrected, whether they want to admit it or not. My phone chimed with another message, from Gregory this time. Dad's asking about investment opportunities in food truck fleets. What did you do to this family? I showed the message to Layla, who burst out laughing. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Ladies, Marin interrupted, focus. We have 3 days to prepare food for 200 people, coordinate with the news crew, and somehow survive a family reunion. Less laughing, more cooking. But as we worked into the evening, the laughter continued. Layla shared stories about Gregory's failed attempts to cook for his girlfriend. Marin taught us curse words in Spanish. Even Mum texted again, this time asking if she should bring Tita's special serving platters. You know what? I said, surveying our progress. Let them come. Let them all come. They'll see exactly what food truck success looks like. They'll see what family looks like, Layla corrected, finally mastering a perfect grape leaf roll, even if it takes some time to remember. Looking at my sister, covered in flour and beaming with pride over her grape leaves, I realized she was right. This wasn't just about proving them wrong anymore. It was about showing them who we really were, who we'd always been. 3 days to go. Bring it on. They're here, Kendall hissed, nudging me as I adjusted my new chef's coat. Through the crowd, I spotted my parents and Gregory, looking painfully overdressed for a food truck charity event. Keep cooking, I told the team of single moms working alongside us. This changes nothing. The event space buzzed with energy. Both food trucks were serving at full capacity, with lines wrapping around the block. Local news crews circulated, interviewing guests and filming the cooking demonstrations. Lucia, Mom's voice carried across the prep area. She stood awkwardly, clutching Teta's antique serving platters. Where should I put these? Over here, Layla jumped in, guiding her to the display table. Look, Mom, we're using Teta's recipes, just like she taught us. Mom's eyes swept over the scene, the women cooking, the crowds enjoying the food, the professional setup. Her expression wavered between pride and uncertainty. Is that Zata Manushi? A small voice piped up. One of Maria's twins stood in front of Mom, pointing at the platter she held. Yes, Mom answered automatically. My mother. She used to make it every morning. Lucia taught my mommy how to make it. The little girl beamed. Now we have it for breakfast too. I watched Mom's face soften as Maria approached. Your daughter's food truck changed our lives, Maria told her. Now I can cook healthy meals for my girls, and the support group has become like family. Before Mom could respond, the news crew descended. Mrs. Lewis, how does it feel seeing your daughter's success? Mom straightened her shoulders, years of social training kicking in. But before she could speak, Gregory cut in. Actually, our family has always supported local businesses, he said smoothly, stepping into frame. We're proud to see Lucia carrying on our grandmother's legacy. I nearly dropped my spatula. Kendall muttered, The audacity. Is that so? The reporter turned to me. Lucia, your brother seems very supportive. Has it always been this way? I locked eyes with Gregory, seeing the challenge there. He thought he could rewrite our story with one smooth interview. Actually, I said, This event is about something bigger than family drama. It's about community. Every woman here has a story about feeding their family against the odds. That's the legacy worth talking about. The reporter's eyes lit up. Can you tell us more about these women? I gestured to Maria and the others. Why don't you ask them yourself? They're the real story here. As the crew moved away, Dad approached the truck. Impressive setup, he said gruffly. Very professional. Thanks, I said, continuing to cook. Did you try the food yet? We were waiting for a good moment. The food's getting cold, Brandon, Mom called out, and I noticed she was already sampling the hummus with Maria's twins. This tastes just like your mother's. Here, I handed Dad a plate of shish tawuk. Teta's recipe, exactly how she made it for your law school graduation. His hands shook slightly as he took a bite. For a moment, he was silent. Well? I asked. It's perfect, he whispered. How did you remember? I paid attention, I said simply. Every Sunday in her kitchen, I paid attention. The event continued to buzz around us. Layla was teaching a group of women how to roll grape leaves, somewhat ironically, given her recent lessons. Gregory hovered near the news crew, occasionally glancing at the growing crowd with poorly concealed surprise. Lucia! Amanda from the festival committee waved frantically. The mayor just arrived. He wants to try everything. As I prepared a tasting platter, I caught sight of my reflection in the truck's window. The embroidered chef's coat gleamed under the lights, Teta's name in Arabic script right above my heart. Below it, the cedar tree pendant she gave me caught the sunlight. Your grandmother would be proud, a voice said. I turned to find Mom standing there, her eyes wet. Not just of the food, but of this. She gestured to the women cooking, the families eating, the community gathered together. Really? I asked. Because last month I was just a street vendor embarrassing the family. I was wrong, she said quietly. We were all wrong. This is exactly what she would have wanted. Before I could respond, Brandon Young himself, my father, stepped up to the truck window. Lucia, he said formally, I'd like to discuss a business proposition. Dad, I'm not coming back to corporate. No, he interrupted. I'd like to invest in your expansion plans. The kitchen fell silent. Even Kendall stopped cooking. What? I managed. Your brother did some research. Food truck empires are apparently quite profitable when properly managed. And with the festival coming up, I held up my hand. Let me stop you right there. I built this myself. Without family money, without family support. I'm not changing that now. He nodded slowly. I understand. But perhaps we could discuss it over dinner. Your mother could teach me how to make that hummus properly. Behind him, Mom was already exchanging recipes with Maria. We'll see, I said, but I was smiling. Right now, I have customers to feed. And they were finally among them. It's time for the speech, Kendall whispered, nudging me toward the small stage we'd set up. The evening sun cast long shadows across the event space, where hundreds of people still mingled, ate, and shared stories. I hate public speaking, I muttered, adjusting my chef's coat. Too bad, Maureen grinned. The news crews are waiting. Make it good. I took the microphone, heart pounding. My family sat in the front row, Mom still trading recipes with Maria, Dad taking notes on his phone, Gregory looking simultaneously impressed and uncomfortable. Layla gave me a thumbs up from where she stood with the other volunteers. When I started Zesty Za'atar, I began, people told me I was throwing my life away. Trading a corporate career for a food truck? It seemed crazy. The crowd quieted, listening. But here's the thing about food. It's never just about feeding people. It's about story, about heritage, about the grandmother who taught you how to fold grape leaves just right, or the mother who wakes up early to make man-ushi for her children. I touched Teta's pendant. My grandmother fed people because that's how she showed love. She taught cooking classes to immigrant women because she remembered what it was like to be new in this country, missing the tastes of home. Every recipe she passed down wasn't just about ingredients, it was about belonging. In the audience, Mom wiped her eyes. Today, when I watch Maria teach her daughters the recipes they learned from our truck, or see women from our support group sharing cooking tips, I realize something. Success isn't measured in corporate titles or corner offices. Gregory shifted in his seat. Success is measured in the lives you touch, the communities you build, the traditions you keep alive. I gestured to the women who'd been cooking alongside us. Every woman here has a story. Sarah works 3 jobs and still makes time to cook traditional meals for her kids. Amira started a small catering business after learning recipes here. Maria's twins now bring homemade Lebanese snacks to school and teach their friends the names in Arabic. The news cameras moved closer as I continued. Some people look at a food truck and see something small, something common. I met Gregory's eyes. But I look at this truck and see my grandmother's legacy. I see women supporting women. I see culture being preserved and passed on. I see strength. Layla was openly crying now, and even Gregory looked affected. To everyone who said I was making a mistake, thank you. Your doubt made me work harder. Your dismissal made me more determined. And your absence made room for this amazing community to become my new family. I raised my glass. To all the women here today who feed their families with love, who keep their traditions alive, who work impossible hours and still make time to learn new recipes. This success belongs to you too. And to my grandmother, who taught me that food is love, and love is revolution. This is all because of you. The crowd erupted in applause. Maria's twins ran up to hug me. Through tears, I saw Dad stand up, clapping with genuine pride on his face. But it was Gregory who reached the stage first. Lou, he said, taking the microphone. I need to say something. The crowd hushed. Kendall moved protectively closer to me. I was wrong, he said simply. We were all wrong. We measured success by our standards, not yours. But looking around today, he gestured to the thriving event, the news crews, the happy families. This is success by any measure. Mom stood up. May I? She took the microphone with trembling hands. My mother, your tita, used to say that food is memory. When she died, I tried to forget because remembering hurt too much. But watching you today, Lucia, you didn't just remember. You brought her back to life. You made her proud. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. Layla joined us on stage, wrapping an arm around me. And you, Mom turned to the crowd, all of you who supported my daughter when we didn't, thank you. Thank you for seeing what we were too blind to see. The news crews were eating it up, but I barely noticed them. For the first time since starting this journey, I felt truly seen by my family. Amanda rushed to the stage. Lucia, the festival committee just called. They want to feature Zesty Za'atar as the headline vendor next month. More applause, more tears, more hugs. As the evening wound down, I found myself sitting with my family, sharing plates of food just like we used to at Teta's house. Gregory was actually helping clean up. Dad was discussing expansion plans with Maria's husband, who owned a restaurant supply company. Mom and Layla were teaching the twins how to properly wrap stuffed grape leaves. You did it, Habibi, Kendall said, sitting beside me. You really did it. I watched my old family and new family blend together, sharing food and stories as the sun set over Silicon Valley. Success tasted like Za'atar and felt like home. No, I corrected her, touching Teta's pendant one last time. We did it, all of us. And somewhere I knew Teta was smiling. Perfect weather for the festival, Kendall said, as we set up our featured vendor booth at the Bay Area Food Festival. The morning fog was just lifting, revealing the waterfront location where thousands would soon gather. Almost too perfect, I agreed, arranging Teta's platters on our display. The festival organizers had given us prime positioning, complete with a demonstration kitchen and seating area. Need help with those? Gregory appeared, wearing a Zesty Za'atar t-shirt that still made me do a double take. He'd been showing up regularly at the truck since the charity event, learning recipes between his financial analyst shifts. "You can start the marinade," I said, "just like I showed you." "Don't let him near the tomb," Layla called out, arriving with Mom. They carried baskets of fresh herbs from Mum's garden. She'd started growing them specifically for the truck. "Very funny," Gregory muttered, but he was smiling. "One batch of garlic sauce goes wrong." "Wrong is an understatement," Kendall laughed. "That sauce could have stripped paint." The festival grounds buzzed with activity as other vendors set up. Several waved to us. We'd become part of the local food community, sharing tips and supporting each other's businesses. "Look who's here," Mom pointed. Maria and her twins approached, wearing matching aprons. "Ready to help," the girls chorused. They'd become regular fixtures at the truck, learning to cook alongside their mother. "Perfect timing," I said. "We need our best grape leaf rollers." Dad arrived last, carrying a surprise, Tita's old wooden rolling pin. "Found this in the attic," he said. "Thought you might want it for the demonstration." I ran my fingers over the worn wood, feeling the grooves from years of use. "It's perfect." The festival opened, and crowds poured in. Our line quickly became the longest, thanks partly to the charity event publicity. The news crew's feature had gone viral, drawing foodies from across the state. "Is it true?" a woman asked as I served her shawarma. "Did you really leave tech to start this?" "Best decision I ever made," I said, catching Gregory's eye as he expertly plated hummus. "Even better decision was letting us help," he added, making me laugh. The demonstration kitchen segment arrived faster than expected. I stood before the crowd, Teta's rolling pin in hand, ready to share her recipes. "Before we start," I said into the microphone, "I want to share something. This rolling pin belonged to my grandmother, who taught me that food is more than sustenance. It's story, it's family, it's love." The audience leaned in, captivated. She also taught me that success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. So today, I'm not just teaching you how to make manouche. I'm teaching you how to believe in your own path, even when others don't see it yet. Mom stepped forward. "And sometimes," she added, taking the microphone, "those who doubt you the most just need time to remember their own forgotten dreams." Together, we demonstrated Teta's techniques, sharing stories between steps. The audience asked questions, took notes, shared their own family recipes. It felt like one of Teta's cooking classes, expanded to include hundreds. Near the end of the day, Amanda rushed over with news. The festival committee voted. Zesty Za'atar won Best in Show. The celebration that followed blended everything I loved: family, food, community. Gregory high-fived Kendall. Layla hugged Maria's twins. Mom taught a group of young women how to properly blend za'atar, while Dad proudly filmed everything. "One more surprise," Layla announced, unveiling a frame. Inside was the photo of Teta teaching her cooking class, alongside a recent photo of me doing the same at the charity event. Below them, a news article headline read, "Legacy of Love: How One Food Truck Rebuilt a Family Through Food." "This belongs in the truck," Mom said softly, next to her recipes. As the festival wound down, we gathered for a family meal. Not just my biological family, but the entire extended family we'd built. Maria and her girls, Kendall and Maren, regular customers who'd become friends, all sharing dishes, swapping stories, building connections. "You know what this means," Gregory said, helping pack up. "You've officially surpassed my corporate success." "It was never a competition," I replied, but he shook his head. "Maybe not for you, but watching you succeed your way, it made me question everything I thought I knew about success." Mom overheard and joined us. "Your Tita used to say, 'Feed the body, nourish the soul.' I forgot that for a while. Thank you for remembering." Looking around at our expanded family, at the award-winning food truck that started it all, at Teta's rolling pin now passed to a new generation, I felt complete. Not because I'd proven them wrong, but because we'd all found our way back to what mattered most. "So," Dad called out, "who's hungry for dinner?" Everyone raised their hands, laughing, ready for another meal together. Because that's what family does. We gather, we eat, we love, we grow. Just like Tita taught us. Just like she always knew we would.